Let's move on to our second main topic today. And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Julio Martinez, who writes, "Hi, John and crew. Love the show. Thank you so much, Julio. Have you seen the trailer for Fantasy Island by Blumhouse starring Michael Peña? It's a dark take on the classic TV show. Looks pretty interesting. What are your thoughts? It definitely got my attention." All right, thanks a lot for that. And listen, we've known for a while that Charlie's Angels, that a Fantasy Island movie was coming. I still remember when they announced that Michael Peña was going to be playing the famous role of Mr. Rourke, although they pronounced it differently in the trailer. Roark or something. I don't know how they said it. Maybe I always just said Mr. Rourke. Anyway.
It is Mr. Rourke.
Of course, made famous by Ricardo Montalban. We got Michael Peña. I thought that's an interesting choice. I didn't realize we were this close to a trailer coming out.
Me neither.
And so the trailer drops and kind of catches me a little bit out of left field and a little bit off guard. This is not the movie I thought they were going to make. I know it's Blumhouse, but I thought, Blumhouse is going to stretch a little bit and do something a little different. Because especially when they announced Michael Peña was playing Mr. Rourke, I thought, okay, we're going to get a fun kind of revisit of an old 70s and 80s show whenever Fantasy Island was out, and it's going to be kind of fun and blah, blah, blah. And this took a totally different turn than what I was expecting it to be. And you know what? Sign me up. I'm on board for this. I like the trailer. And you know what? Really, when you think about it, because, I mean, look, as far as TV watching age goes, Fantasy Island was a bit before my time. But my mom would let me watch reruns of it and stuff like that. And I remember a couple of them would get a little dark, right? And this whole idea, I love what they just said in the trailer. It was like, wait a minute. This isn't about our this is about us fulfilling somebody else's fantasy. I mean, it turns it all in its ear. And I got to tell you, I loved the surprise of it. Surprise in that it looked like something like I did not think it was going to look like. I was intrigued by this movie before. This trailer has now officially made me excited for the movie. So yeah, I'm fully on board with it. Rob, you had a chance to look at it. What did you make of it?
Dude, I'm right there with you. I was very intrigued by this trailer. I grew up every Saturday night before I could go out anywhere because I was too young to drive. I watched the 1-2 punch on Saturday nights of Love Boat and Fantasy Island. The Love Boat and Fantasy Island, people laugh about the Love Boat, but both shows were structured. They had multiple stories in one episode, and you followed, and I love storytelling. And I looked at the Love Boat as sort of a romantic version of Twilight Zone, even though it wasn't. And Fantasy Island was more Twilight Zone. But I loved Fantasy Island. I thought what they have done with this was clever. It was interesting. It reminded me it might have a little bit of a Cabin in the Woods vibe. Maybe. I don't know. But I think the idea of where they're going with this was really interesting. And again, for me, it's always about the sort of the intellectual hook. If you're going to make a genre movie, how is this different than any other genre movie I've seen my entire life? And this looks really interesting. The idea of Fantasy Island and maybe a supernatural element or an element we don't understand, I'm totally in. And there are two things about this trailer I don't know who did this, but the trailer begins using Pino Donaggio's music from Brian De Palma's movie Body Double, which is one of my, it's a weird piece of music. I love this piece of music. I was like, oh my God, who decided to do that? I mean, that was an ultimate deep cut. And then at the end, you heard this little ting like do, 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 which was the Fantasy Island theme. And I'm like, all right, the people that made this movie, they're like, we're not going to go back and do Fantasy Island. The Malcolm McDowell Fantasy Island didn't last very long. So they're like, how can we do this differently? I think this is exactly what old franchises can use. Look, this could be terrible. But like you said, I'm in. I was excited. I watched this trailer twice. I showed my girlfriend, Elizabeth. I'm like, look at this. And I count me in.
Very different tattoo.
Yeah.
Very different. And the girl from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
How creepy did she end up being? Like, seriously, I'm like, holy crap.
Like when she turns and looks
and just still has that smile.
And then the last shot of her with the blood coming out of her nose, I'm like, oh, I'm in.
I'm on board. You're right. This is a movie that could very easily break bad really fast. Yes. I mean, this is a movie that could get real messy really fast, but I'm on board right now.
You know what it reminded me of, though? And it has nothing. It reminded me of Escape Room that my friend Adam Robitel directed. Now, the whole thing about Escape Room is, to me, it's a movie that has what I call impossible premise. Like, you're watching and you're going along, you're like, this is pretty cool. But when it's over, you're like, there's no way anybody could possibly have built all of this, like built the escape room. Like, none of this could actually have happened. So by the end of the movie, I'm like, I liked what I saw, and it was really well done, but I don't believe it. I hope Fantasy Island doesn't turn out to be that way. I hope, like,
but you said there's a supernatural element to it, and I think there was in the show. You know what? I'm gonna go on a thing right here. You heard it here first. By the end of Fantasy Island, you're gonna find out this is a shared cinematic universe with Lost. This is the island from Lost. And just on the one side, they have a Caribbean getaway
Wouldn't that
place.
be interesting if, like, Mr. Rourke figured out a way to get to the Lost Island and just decide, you know what? I'm going to build a resort on this island because who knows what's going to happen.
Question here is, guys.
I love that idea. John pitched that as a new show.
Cinematic universe.
Oh, my God.
Listen, guys, question is, did you have a chance to watch this Fantasy Island trailer? Did you like it as much as us? Or are you like, guys, are you crazy? That didn't look any good at all. What did you think about it? Jump down to the comment section below.
That's the ultimate pitch, John. They build a resort on the Lost Island.
Tell you.
Sold.
That's what they did in Gilligan's Island. Remember, they made a Gilligan's Island years later?